Gasoline off in my cup, gasoline off in the ride. Gasoline off in my cup, gasoline off in the lit. Gasoline off in my cup, gasoline off in the ride. Gasoline off in my cup, gasoline off in the ride. Coming down with the pretty, pretty pain, you know I'm fly. Got a cup so full of that lean, don't blow my high. Cause I'm on that gasoline, chillin' with a gangsta lean. Shawty, I'm doing my thing, yeah. Coming down so lit, coming through in the whip on tilt, swinging through with the rim on steel.
So I guess it's a little late for me to start doing this, but I basically started working on Gabriel's car. It's like midnight right now. Well, actually it's like midnight. I started working on this thing like maybe 30 minutes ago. And yeah, so basically what I decided I'm gonna do is to make this process a little easier, instead of disconnecting everything from the intake manifold, I'm just gonna disconnect I unbolted the intake manifold from the head itself. I'm gonna have to replace the gasket, but at least I don't have to disconnect all the other crap. So I can literally leave throttle cable, injectors, the harness, basically everything just plugged in. I don't have to touch anything. And then the only water lines coming off of that are going to the block, or like the heater connectors that go to the intake manifold itself, except there's one heater connector that goes to the side of the head, which I already disconnected, and the radiator hose, and then there's two sensors. That's all I had to disconnect. The distributor was already out, and then the cam caps and the cams were already out from when I was trying to do the valve seals in the head. But so there's where we're at. So pretty much everything's off. You can see all the nuts are off the headers there. Intake is separated from the head there. And then yeah, I just took the hoses off on the side and unplugged everything from the side. And then that's when I thought, like, oh man, maybe I should record this. So here we are. But so the next step is going to be to go ahead and crack off the ARP head studs. And then once we crack off the ARP head studs, I think I'm going to leave it there for tonight. I am getting pretty tired, and tomorrow I have to do, let me see, I did my 3 journal entries for school. It was 3 journal entries and 1 actual writing assignment, which I think those are already done. So really the only thing I have to do tomorrow is I just have to study and take my test. So basically I'm just going to get up early, try to knock that out. Or I think what I might actually do is I might get up, work on this during the day. And I'd probably be better off taking my, like, studying a little bit and taking my test at night, because that's usually when I do better. But so yeah, so let me let me go ahead and crack these studs off and see if I can get this head off. If I can get this head off, we can go ahead and take a look at it, but I won't mess with anything else until tomorrow. So let's see what happens here. Whew, okay, and we're back here again. Way too soon. I hate when I have to do stuff like this over and over again, but that's what I was saying in my last video. From now on, we know, and it's gonna be a rule of thumb. Every single head gasket that we do, or every single motor that we build or put together, if we don't know the condition of the head, or if it's like an old head, like some of the heads that I have in storage like that, Shane got from somebody a long time ago, never had valve seals or anything like that done, but it wasn't leaking when it was in his motor or in his car, but it sat behind Gabriel's house, like in the backyard, for who knows how long. Who knows if maybe moisture or something got in there, deteriorated the seals, and then as soon as we started the car up and started driving it, some of the seals were dry rotted and expanded, or whatever the case may be. Oil got past them. But yeah, so from now on, anything like that, any head that I put on my car, I don't care what it is, BK, whatever, it's gonna go to the machine shop and get the valve seals done, because we're not doing this again. But yeah, so see, simple enough. Headers are sitting there, intake is sitting there with all the crap on it. I didn't have to disconnect anything except for the VTEC line here, which, if you don't know, I'm pretty sure mostly everybody knows that now, but when you do an LS or a B20 block bottom end with a VTEC head, you need to supply oil to the head via sandwich plate. And yeah, so pretty much I just had to disconnect that. I had to disconnect this sensor here, that sensor there, this hose, the one heater hose here, and that's it. Like literally that was basically it. And then obviously unbolt the intake, unbolt the headers, unbolt the studs for the heads, and that's it. So yeah, so now the next step is going to be, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a wipe down right now so that crap doesn't sit there and it doesn't rust up and stuff like that. And this thing, it's gonna be kind of dark because like I said, it's midnight. Oh, and I don't have the best light out here, which is why I usually don't work at night. But yeah, everything looks great there. Shane had actually sent this head to the machine shop. That was another reason we didn't send it. If you can see the finish on that, it's like freshly cut, because when he did the VTEC, again, if you don't know this, I'm pretty sure most of you guys do, but if you don't know this, if you're doing a B20 or LS bottom end with a VTEC head, you need to block off this VTEC drain, because the non-VTEC block won't have the hole for that to go in, and you'll end up with a big oil leak. So yeah, I remember when he did that, he sent the head to the machine shop and got it cut so that all this would be nice and even. But yeah, I know the seals didn't get done. He just did a cut and clean. But oh man, yeah, so that's it. Let me go ahead and wipe all this down, and then I'm gonna call it a night. I'm freaking exhausted, so I'm gonna go inside and basically go to sleep. I might look over some material if I'm not tired, but I don't know. The way things are looking and the way I keep yawning, it's looking like I'm probably just gonna go to sleep. Oh, and I gotta make some time to go back to the gym tomorrow too. Went to the gym today, and FYI, if you go to Planet Fitness and you're in one of those areas where they close at 8 o'clock, don't go there after 6 o'clock. It was so freaking packed, I couldn't do anything. I literally did like cardio and like 2 machines, and then I left because it was just way too packed. Normally on the weekends I go earlier, but today I got caught up waxing my car and washing it because it was like really dirty. And then when I washed it, I haven't waxed it since I painted it. So it's like every time I wash it, the paint's getting like rougher and rougher and rougher, and I keep telling myself I need to wax it to maintain the paint. So today I finally broke down and I was like, all right, look, this paint's nasty. I'm gonna go ahead and wax it while I have the sun and this and that. And then by the time I got done with all that, it was like 6 o'clock, and I went to the gym and I was like, yeah, never again. But so yeah, so I'm gonna leave that there, and we'll pick this up tomorrow.
Coming down with the chain on glitter, paint on flicker, do your thing, young nigga. Roll my swistle with a pain of liquor, flow so dope, cocaine, my nigga. Let them in, yo. If I gotta get it in till it in, yo. If it's over, then I never got the memo. You see the way that I'm killing the instrumental? Bet you find me in a fly seat with a fine freak. I never let it all go to waste, man. Like an old head surfing at the bar with his hand out saying, hey, let me get a taste, man. In my old school with the V8 pedal to the metal, hoping that the cops don't chase me. Put my beats up high and I'm feeling so fly. Oh my gosh, you know I ride. Coming down with the pretty pain, you know I'm fly. Got a cup so full of that lean, don't blow my high. Cause I'm on that gasoline, chillin' with a gangster lean. Shawty, I'm doing my thing, yeah.
I don't know how well you guys can see that, but yeah, essentially all this tool does is just push down on the retainers like that. That way it can expose the keepers, which are, let me see if you can see them here. Those guys right there. And once it exposes those guys, you can just take a magnet, pop them out, set them down, make sure you keep tabs on them, and then you can take the springs out, which, like I said, this one had a set of it has a set of Blox dual springs, which is why I didn't want to do the hammer method, because those springs have a lot more tension than your typical stock spring, and it'll send these keepers flying. You'll never see them again. And yeah, that valve seal right there looks pretty bad. So those little seals right there, that's basically what we're going to be changing. All right, y'all, so this is where I'm at with all of this. It's currently been a week since the last video that I filmed where I was doing the valve seats, or the valve seals, standing right here. It's just taken me a while because juggling school and all that. It's just been kind of crazy. So the valve seals are done. Took me a while to get them done, but now they're done. So now the next part is just going to be prep work. And it's not going to be too bad because of the way that I took everything apart. It was just real simple, very minimal. So again, like I said in that last part, you know, we left the power steering setup in, we left everything in. Really just these two hoses that came off, a few connectors here, this line, and that's pretty much it. We're gonna have to scrape this gasket off right here. We got a brand new one. The surface is still really clean because this motor hasn't really been ran at all by the time we found out that the valve seals needed to get replaced. Piston rings and everything are good. You can see there's no movement there, so all that is good to go. The motor did test 190 compression all the way across. So the only thing that's left now is, as you can see here, there's a little bit of water and stuff like that that fell into where the studs are. So I'm gonna go ahead and get I got some brake cleaner here. We don't really have to mess with these two outer ones because the dowel pins kept most of everything out. But for the rest of these, I'm gonna shoot some brake cleaner in there, let all that come up and out of there, and then we're just gonna go ahead and wipe everything down. I'm gonna try to cover everything up with towel so we don't ruin the paint and so we don't get anything going down into the timing belt area. And then after that, we're gonna go ahead and clean off these threads really good. We're gonna reapply new lube to them, set the head down, put the new gasket in, bolt everything together. Right out the holes where the head studs are, so they don't have like any oil and coolant in them no more. And the only thing that I'm doing is just taking a little bit of water out of the coolant jacket. We're gonna drain and refill everything, coolant and oil, because obviously everything's like mixed up with the head coming off and stuff like that. But right now, just so that the installation of the head doesn't interfere, usually what I do is I just go ahead and put a napkin or a paper towel or something. And with science, we just let the water literally run up the napkin, and basically once we pull it out, the level will drop a little bit lower. And that's pretty much it. That's usually how I clean out most of these holes too, is I'll usually get a napkin, I'll get just the tip in there, pause, and some of y'all will get it, some of y'all won't. And yeah, basically I just let the fluids just run up the napkin and I pull the napkin out. And yeah, so now the surface is for the most part clean. Just giving it a last second wipe down, and I will wipe it down one last time before I put the head gasket on here, just to make sure everything's nice and clean. And then we'll get the torque in and we can figure out the rest. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up that manifold gasket. I'm gonna go ahead and scrape that out now, because obviously once the head is back on here, it'll be in the way. So just be a lot easier to have that all cleaned up and ready to go. So once the head does go back on here, we don't have to deal with that, with the head being in the way. All right, so you can see the surface is clean. Looks a little rough, but this is a bunch of dust and stuff. What you want to do is you want to run your fingers across the whole surface, make sure that everything is super smooth. There's no little pieces of like old gasket or anything left anywhere that's gonna cause a vacuum leak. All right, moment of truth. I got the head off with this contraption set up like that. Let's see if it'll go back into place without any issues. All right, so the head dropped right back down just like it came out. Literally a tiny little gap left between the brackets. So once those two bolts go back in there, we'll be good to go. I had to step out and go to the store and get some more of this because I completely ran out. And then, so we'll go ahead and get the washers in here, get the nuts on them, torque them down. And then after that's done, I'm gonna put the exhaust gasket in the front here, get the headers on, and then the last thing will be the intake gasket in the back and put that on, and then try to connect everything else. Gabriel's on the way with fresh oil and coolant, so we can go ahead and get that out the way. and that'll pretty much be it. Hopefully, let me see how much time o'clock right now. So got probably like another good 3 hours before I call it a night and go inside to do schoolwork. So I don't see why we shouldn't be able to get all this done, but we'll see. There's also a bit of a surprise. Gabriel knows that I'm going to be doing something to this to modify it and make it a little quicker. He doesn't know exactly what it is, and I kind of want to mention it, but I don't know if I am going to mention it, because if this video comes out before an appropriate time to let him know, I don't want him to know. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just not even going to mention it in the video. I'm just going to go ahead and put the motor all back together, and I guess when the time comes, maybe when if I record videos of me like retuning the car because it's going to need a new tune, then I'll go ahead and explain exactly what it is that I did. So without further ado, it's been some time again between that last clip and now. So I already know this video is going to be like hella long, and I've been kind of stretching it out a bit. I even filmed the Subaru video in the middle of filming everything for this video, but I didn't want to just close out the video without giving you guys a conclusion. So you guys saw me putting everything back together, putting the head and everything back on the car. Everything's pretty much done. The car gave us a bit of a hiccup at first, and the reason why is because of the goodies that I put in this car. So I wanted to surprise Gabriel, and I was saying that I didn't know if I was going to disclose like what it was that I did for the surprise or whatever in this video. But so basically what ended up happening is I have a set of CTR cams because I have a complete CTR head. For the longest time, I've been trying to get those cams to work in my car, but they wouldn't. And the reason that they wouldn't, we found out while doing it with Gabriel's car, is actually a pretty dumb reason, and we never checked. I couldn't really figure out exactly why. I put it in that car. I did it twice actually in my car, and they just would not start. I would check compression. When I would check compression in my car, it says 60. When I put them together in Gabriel's car, it showed 120. So I was like, okay, so they have better potential of starting in this car. I thought it was because of dual springs, because maybe I didn't have strong enough springs or whatever. Maybe the valves were staying open. I didn't know what the issue was. The last thing that I did was I told Gabriel, get yourself a set of cam gears, like adjustable cam gears. He actually came up on a set for a really good deal that was supposed to get used in the other car that we're getting ready to build. I ended up borrowing those from him, and in the process of swapping those onto this motor, we actually found out that the exhaust cams didn't have a keyway. So the whole time we were starting the car, the cam gears were literally spinning without the camshaft. So that's why they wouldn't start. So now that we got everything into place, the car actually started right up with no issues. And that's with the Type R cam gears. Idling smooth and everything. I don't want to let it run too long because I actually ended up snapping the little nipple off the radiator for the reservoir. So I'm actually getting ready to fix that right now. I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of dark out, but so there's a little nipple that goes right here for the reservoir. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and glue that with some Picatinka, and which is this stuff right here. If you don't know about that, that stuff is amazing. If you get the black one, I fixed AC lines, I fixed all types of stuff with the black one. But yeah, so I gotta fix that. And then I also got to do an oil change and flush the coolant out. We have a new filter for it. I need to install the oil pressure switch, and I actually need to finish running the VTEC inside to the ECU. So that's all stuff that we're going to go ahead and get done here real quick. So with that being said, I'm pretty much just going to call it here. It's already been a long enough video. And yeah, so the next part is hopefully this car doesn't bother me and doesn't give me any more crap, and I can get started on the EF. We are getting ready to head out to Fuel Fest. My car is actually going to be featured. I actually registered the car to be in the actual show. So if you go out to Fuel Fest, it's going to be Saturday, the 25th. So if you're there that day, you'll see my car there. It'll be there from 1 to 8 o'clock. I believe are the event hours, but don't quote me on that. Check for yourself. But so I will be out there. I'm not sure if this thing is gonna be out there. I know Gabriel's working on some stuff to make sure that it's out there, so you might see this car out there. The blue Subaru that we detailed in the last video, Sean's car, I think that's gonna be out there. Don't quote me on that 100%. Toe Strap Garage, his white Integra might be out there. If he remembers to buy the tickets, he might remember the day before the event, and that'll be the end of that. Wouldn't surprise me. And but yeah, other than that, that's gonna be it for this. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up the last few things that I have on this. Not sure if I'm gonna record it or not, and then there's a few things that I gotta fix on my car, so I might record it, might not record it. We'll see. Also, one more important announcement. So they're not really like sponsors or anything like that, but I am working with a clothing company out of, I believe it's Wisconsin. I don't have any of the merch yet. They did send me out a box of merch that I'm waiting to receive, but they got some really cool clothes, kind of like some stuff that I want to like design and stuff. Not like this, well, kind of like this. Like, this is my Project B Team hoodie, and then I got a shirt. I don't have any shirts with this design, but I got other shirts with like my own designs and stuff like that, but those aren't going to be released anytime soon. But yeah, so I'm working with them now. They provided me with an affiliate link and a discount code in case you guys are interested in getting any of their stuff. I think I have like 2 shirts or 3 shirts and a hoodie coming. But they got some pretty dope stuff. Like, they got Gary the Snail with like a turbo on his back. They got a Peppa Pig, but the Peppa Pig head is like a turbo shape. They got a lot of real cool, like they got like this one that's like a geisha. They got this one that's like a tiger. They got a lot of like cool like GTR, FD, like all the Japanese classic icon cars and stuff like that, all in the form of like t-shirts, long sleeve shirts and hoodies and stuff like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in the description, so if you guys want to check them out, if you click on the link, you get 10% off. If you use my code, you get an extra 5% off, so it makes it a total of 15% off. And I'm not sure what the minimum amount is, but there's a certain amount that if you hit that amount, you get free shipping. I think it's like $100 or something like that. And then with the discount code or whatever, it helps out. So, but yeah, so make sure you guys go check that out. And then with that being said, that's gonna be it. So catch you guys on the next one.
Oh my gosh, you know I ride. Coming down with the pretty brain, you know I'm fly. Got a cup so full of that lean, don't blow my high. Cause I'm on that gasoline, chillin' with a gangster lean.